Hey guys, welcome back for some more terminal commands. So we're just going to pick up where we left off. So just a quick recap, we did touch, which basically creates a file. We did cd, which changed directories. We did pwd, which is print working directory. And in this case, I'm on my desktop. We did ls, which basically just lists all the files. We did a couple options, which I think was ls-a to list all, which would be the equivalent to kind of coming over here and hitting command shift period, kind of the same thing there on the GUI side. We did ls-al, which lists the long format of all the files, permissions, everything like that. And I don't think we covered this one, which was ls-t, which kind of would list all the files and show the most recent modified file in the stack. Okay. I think we also took a look at rm. We talked about some pros and cons around that. And we'll cover that a little bit more in this video too. We'll kind of touch on that again. And I think we also took a look at trash. So this is kind of like a soft delete. It kind of just deletes the file or folder or whatever, and it places it into your trash. So I think we kind of did that, and we just kind of showed, let's just cd into our trash here. Oops, sorry about that. Trash and list. So yeah, like we try to delete something and we soft delete it and we put it in our trash. If we were to use like say rm-r and for instance the site2 thing, that would most definitely delete that and it's gone for good. So we'll just cd back to our desktop and just list. We're back where we were. We'll clear this and we'll start from here. All right, so you may have seen me use this command, open. So in previous videos, I might have used it to open, Safari or something, or some other application, or an actual directory. In this case, we're going to use open, and we're just going to put a period here. And what it's going to do is it's going to open up my present working directory or print working directory. And in this case, it's users williamsk desktop. Typing in the command open followed by the period opened up this desktop representation over here. It's kind of the same as going to Finder and saying File, New, and then getting that and just opening it. So the reason I want to do this in kind of a split view is because I want to show you what's happening visually on this side and then what I'm doing over here in terminal to manipulate this. So we will clear this and we'll start right here. And just note that once again, this is just a visual representation of the site folder here. So if I was to double click and go into sites, it's exactly the same as what's over here. The command we're going to take a look at is called make directory, and it does exactly what it sounds like. It makes a directory, it makes a folder, and in this case, it's going to make a folder of the name that I choose, and it's going to be on my desktop. So I'm going to choose, let's say, web page. As you can see, when I'm finished that command, it creates a folder over here called web page. When I click into this folder, it's empty. So it creates a folder with no content. So it's completely empty. So that's just what I wanted to show you over here. Also, what if you wanted to create a folder that had multiple names, something with spaces or some other details? You do the exact same thing. You say make directory. And in this case, you'd wrap it in quotes and it'll be like, say, web page new. And when I enter this command, it would then create another folder, as you can see here on my desktop, with the words web page new. Okay, let's remove web page new. Okay, so I'm going to type in rm. I'm going to do a -r. I'm going to type in web page, and then I'm going to type in new. Okay, so pay attention to this. I hit enter. It says no such file or directory, but note what it did. So on this side here, even though it says no such file or directory, it actually removed web page because it was visible over here, right? And if I kind of do a quick check and I cd and then I go into my trash and I list, it's not here. Like, it didn't get soft deleted. It got completely removed. My intentions were to remove this web page new, but I ended up removing the initial web page folder that I created. So let's just cd back into our desktop and we'll just clear this. We'll do another quick list. And the folder's still here. So if I want to remove something, once again, I want you guys to be really careful with the rm command because it could be pretty self-destructive if you don't know what you're actually doing. So if I really wanted to remove this web page new directory, I'd have to wrap it in quotes as well, okay? and close it with a closing quotation as well. And then it would actually remove web page new. So this is how you would actually want to remove that file rather than the way I did it before. And it's kind of a gotcha that I wanted you to kind of pay attention to. So let's just recreate that directory web page. Okay, so it's back, and no big deal, but there's nothing in it. But I mean, that might have been pretty detrimental if there was lots of content in here that you couldn't really replace, or it took some time to make. So the other thing we could take at while we're still looking at make directory is that we can just jump inside of here. So now we're inside of the contents of web page directory or folder. There's nothing inside here. In terminal, we'd have to cd into that. So we're going to cd into web page. We're going to list, and it mimics what's over here. There's nothing here. But what if we wanted to create multiple directories? So let's say I wanted to create, let's say mkdir, and I wanted to create a file called CSS, one called img. So I'm going to try to kind of mimic this folder over here. And I'm going to create another one called JS, and I'm going to create another one called doc. And I think that's all the folders so far. So we'll hit enter. As you can see, typing in this command with just the name of the directories that you want to make, followed by spaces, would then in return create these empty directories. Note that there's nothing in any of these as well. And it kind of gives you this representation over here. I'm just going to actually sort by type for a moment, or kind, so that we can kind of be in line with each one of these images here. Okay, so that's how you would create multiple folders using the directory or make directory command. And as you can see, I went into the folder that I wanted to create these multiple directories, but you don't have to do that. You could create them outside of this folder, whatever your workflow is or whatever you're trying to create, or however many directories you're trying to create. You could do that here. Okay, so what if I wanted to create a folder and it had contents in it, like a nested folder, another folder. So let's just double check over here. So in the JS folder, there's also another folder, and it's called vendor. So I'm going to introduce another command while I'm teaching you how to make nested folders using make directory. So for now, I'm going to introduce a command called remove directory, which is rmdir. And the directory I want to remove is going to be JS, because I want to create it again with this vendor folder inside of it on its initial creation. So I'm going to use rmdir, which will remove directory, and the directory I'm going to remove is going to be called JS. So I'll run that command, and it will remove this directory. Then I'm going to recreate the directory using mkdir, and I'm going to use a flag this time, and the flag is going to be p. And what this denotes, it's going to create a nested folder, and I have to choose the folder name. In this case, it will be JS, and the nested folder that I'm going to create inside there will be vendor. So I'm going to try to mimic this folder here. So we'll run that command. And as you can see, it creates the JS, and inside that, it creates the vendor folder. So that's how you would create a nested folder within a folder using this p flag. So you have to name the folder that you want to nest, and then what folder you want to put inside that nested folder using this flag. I hope that makes sense. And that's a lot to take in. I know we've covered a lot around make directory, but it's a pretty useful command, very common, and it's used a lot, and you'll find that you might be even using it a lot in your workflow day to day. Okay, let's just back up here a little bit. We're going to go back to the sites directory, and we're going to back up here inside of the web page directory, and we're going to create a file. Actually, what I want to do, let's try this. We'll jump inside here, and since I'm PWD, I'm inside this web page directory. I'm going to cd into JS. And inside the JS, I'm going to create a new file. And I'm going to use the touch command, and I'm going to create a file called plugins.js. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of mimic that folder up there. So I've created this file, and I'm also going to create another one, touch, and I'm going to say main.js. Okay, so we kind of have the same thing going on here. This is organized a little bit differently, but it's pretty much the same idea. Okay. Okay, let's go back. All right, now the reason I wanted to do that was because notice that in each one of these folders, there's nothing, they're empty. The gotcha is when you're using rmdir to remove a directory, it'll remove a directory if there's nothing inside of it. But let's try to remove this directory here, JS, and see what happens. So we'll run that. And it just says no such file or directory. And that's not true, because you look over here, the directory is here, but it has files inside of it. So anytime you're using the rmdir command, which is remove directory, if you have a file or something inside the folder, it won't work. You'll have to literally have an empty folder, such as like, rmdir img. We know this one's empty. There's nothing inside of it. So this should work for us when we hit this command. Let's see here. Nope, it didn't work. Why didn't it work? It didn't work because we were currently inside of this folder. So that's actually a good thing. So let's just back out one or go up a directory. We'll pwd. So now we're inside web page. We'll run that command again by just tabbing up a few times. Okay. And now that you'll see that works. So I'm kind of glad that showed up as well, because now you can see that, you have to be in the directory that you want to be to remove a file. So if you're nested inside of another directory and you try to remove a directory outside of that directory, you necessarily can't unless you actually point to that directory. And that sounds confusing. So to clarify, let's just say we mkdir, that's the command, and we're going to make the image directory again. We're going to pop that back up, and let's cd back into JS. So now I pwd, and I'm inside of this web page JS folder. Now I would like to rmdir, but I have to choose, where I want to remove this image folder from while I'm inside this directory. So what I want to do is I want to remove it from the desktop, and inside the desktop, I'm in web pages, and inside that, I want to remove this folder. That command will now work because I've pointed to the relative path to where this thing belongs. So you can remove directories even if you're not in that directory. So you can remove another directory with that command. You just can't remove a directory that has something in it using the command rmdir. So let's just list, see where we are. We're still in the JS file. We're going to go up a directory. We're going to list again. We're going to clear just because it's getting a little bit long. List one more time. And we're going to pwd. Now we're going to make that directory back again, which is img. And we're back to where we were. Okay. And that about wraps it up for the make directory command. So there's quite a few things that we did there. We initially made a directory, just a single name. We decided to make a nested directory. We made multiple directories. And then we made directories that had multiple words and spaces. All right. So before we go, I want to take one more look at the rm command. I don't want to terrify you guys, but I just want to make sure that you understand how this command really works. So I'm going to do an rm, and I'm going to remove a file, and the file in question is going to be this main.js file. So I'm going to remove this file. It's going to be in the JS folder. It's going to be main.js. So once I run this command, it will remove this file. So use with caution, and it'll be permanently gone. So I'll do that one more time. So as you can see there, it's gone. I'm in this directory, but I can, go here and remove that file. The other thing I could do is if I was to rm and I use the -i flag, and this basically says, it's going to give you some confirmation. I'm going to remove the JS, actually the plugins file here to JS. And then it gives you this little confirmation. Do you want to remove JS plugins.js? So rather than just, typing this in without the flag and then just completely deleting the file without even having, kind of an option to decide, yeah, this is what I want to do, you can do this. If we type in yes, then it's gone. So I'm just going to cd into JS for a moment. I'm going to touch. I'm going to create another main.js. Actually, I'm going to touch and create a bunch of other files as well. So I got all these files here created, and I'm inside this folder, and I'm just going to pwd so that you can note that I'm actually inside of the JS folder. I'm going to cd, go up a level. I'm going to go back out, and then do another pwd just to show you that I'm in the user's williamsk desktop web page. Okay? So now pay attention to this one, okay? So we have these files that are inside of this directory. We can visibly see that over here. So I'm going to say remove, and recursively remove every single file inside of this folder. Okay, so I run that command. Okay, because I'm removing a lot of files inside of this folder, it'll make sure and say, hey, you know what? Are you sure you want to delete all 5 files? This could be, well, more than 5 files or whatever inside of, and it gives you the full path, to where you want to remove this thing. And if I say yes, look what happens. It removes all 5 files. So 5 files meaning the single files and the folder. So if I was to ls inside of JS, we'll cd into JS and I list, there's nothing inside that. We can clearly see that. If we were to cd tilde and just check our trash, and we list, those are gone indefinitely. So you can remove multiple files using this command, and it's recursive, so it will remove everything inside of this folder. This asterisk is a wildcard that will remove everything, files, folders, whatever's inside of this folder. But it won't actually remove the folder itself, right? So just make a note of that. Go back to desktop, we'll cd into web page. We'll list, and as you can see here, the JS file folder is still here. Okay, so let's just cd into JS, and I'll repeat this touch command up here. I'm just going to cycle through my commands real quick here, and I'm going to recreate these things. Okay, so I created these files again. Now you can also remove multiple files. So rm, and I could just remove, because I'm now inside of the JS directory. I can remove package.json, I can remove robot.txt, I can remove human.txt. And that does the same thing as the initial command that we had up here, which was remove without any recursiveness, and it removes this set of files. The remove command is very powerful. Use with caution and be aware what you're removing and how you remove things once again. So you can always attach the rm-i flag and then try to remove your file. And at least it'll give you an option, like one last choice before you decide. And you're like, no, actually I don't want to do that, so it stays put. So that will wrap it up for this video. It was a longer video than normal, but I wanted to focus on a lot of details around these commands. So in the next video, which is still commands, we're going to be taking a look at copy, move, and a few other commands. All right, so let's just clear all this stuff over here, and we'll leave it at that. That's a lot, and I hope you guys enjoyed that one, and we will pick it up in the next video.